Welcome to the Farming Without the Bank podcast, the show with a no BS approach to money, hosted by a farm strategy expert and authorized IBC practitioner. Join us as we get real and expose the flaws of traditional financial institutions in order to help farmers take control of their finances, create peace of mind, grow their wealth, and leave a legacy. Now, here's your host, Mary Jo Ehrman.
Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it. Today, we are going to talk about ideas for extra income or ideas just for farm income. If you have a small operation, if you have a big operation, some of these things may actually apply as well. Before I get there, though, I will be in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, the 20th, This is going to go out on Thursday. So if you don't listen to it when it comes out, you're probably going to miss me. But I will be in Cedar Rapids, July 20th at 7 p.m. We will be doing a public Farming Without the Bank, Life Without the Bank seminar. And because I am in control, we are going to talk about all kinds of things because I have an unlimited amount of time to talk. So we're going to be talking about, obviously, infinite banking. We're going to be talking about the economy. We'll be talking about how banks make money, all kinds of stuff. Basically, we will have a huge Q&A at the end, and you guys will be able to ask me anything that you want. And I find that people love that. All right. So you can go to withoutthebank.com and click on events, and that will get you into where you need to be to buy a ticket. If you are a client listening, we are doing a client-only little think tank at 4:00. That will go till about 5:30. And then the public piece will be open at 7. So if you're a client and you want to see me and just visit with other clients there and kind of get into some more of the nitty-gritty, what's going on with life insurance and IBC, meet me there at 4:00. But go online and get your ticket for that too, just so I know how many people are coming. All right. So let's talk about ways to make extra money. I just got off of a call from somebody he's got a fairly small operation. And I was just giving him ideas of what to do to make some extra income already based on what he's doing. Stuff he did not know, but stuff that I have come across as I have talked to people. And you guys, I talk to about 1,000 farmers a year, or just 1,000 people a year, right? The majority of those people are going to be farmers. So I have all sorts of ideas of what you can do to make extra income. So I just wanted to share some of those to maybe get your mind going. This is truly what I do in our first meeting. If I see that we need extra income, if I see that you want to make the farm a full-time job, or if the farm is struggling, what can we do to create some extra income, to change some numbers around, whatever that is? I am here for those ideas. But then you have to take those ideas and do something with them. Because guess what? Hearing about something and not doing anything doesn't get you anywhere. So you have to implement it. So on the farming side, and I'm just going to be talking farming. So if you want to hear something else, on the non-farm side, I'll probably have that on the Without the Bank at some point. But just on the farm side, what I have seen, kind of the latest things that I've come across. Now, I think that I'm sure some of you devoted listeners have heard me talk about meat vending machines because you guys are telling me you've heard me say it. I don't remember doing a specific podcast about it. But then y'all know I just kind of hit record and talk. So the meat vending machine, I think truly, if you are doing direct to consumer and you are in the area of lake cabins, vacation rentals, Airbnb type stuff, I believe this is going to be like a very hot commodity. That is my thought process. But we also know that I get excited about a lot of stuff. That does not mean that stuff always works. But this is how I think about it. If you are doing direct to consumer, and you are delivering my meat to me, I have to be home. You have to drive to me. We have to coordinate a time. And it's uber annoying to me. Because if you're late, then that messed up my whole schedule. Or I have to have a schedule. And a lot of times I am not a big planner, you guys. So like my birthday is on Saturday and I don't know what I'm going to do. Like I'm not planned it out. Maybe have an idea. We'll decide what I feel like in the morning. I mean, I am just kind of a fly by the seat of my pants kind of person. I am not a huge planner. I can be, but I prefer not to be. All right. So you have to schedule a time, or I have to go meet you somewhere and I have to pick up my meat between said times, which again, I have to schedule. And then I have to come and I have to feel like we need to chit chat a little bit because I'm getting all my stuff from you. When I go to the grocery store, I don't want to see anybody. I want to get in and get out. And that is kind of how a lot of people feel. Now, there are some people that are going to be far more social than I am, and they are actually going to want to visit with you. Now, do you want to visit with them? Are you a socialite, or are you selling direct to consumer just for the income, but you would much rather be out with the cows all day long? You don't want to talk to these people either. So I think vending machines are going to be a huge success because when I'm out of meat, I can just go to the vending machine. I can get what I need and we call it a good day. Or there are meat freezer lockers and they are also vending machines as far as I know. I've not seen these yet, but Applestone Meats or Applestone Vending, Applestone something is the company that I have looked at their vending machines. It's all run from your phone. It'll tell you when you're out of meat. It'll tell you if things are outdated. It'll tell you if the cooler quit in the machine. All those good things. So you can have one in more than one location. Yes, they are quite spendy. I believe they're about 20,000 or more for the vending machine, not the locker. And so they are quite spendy. But remember, if you want to have more locations, that being from your phone is going to be handy, in my opinion. I don't know what these guys are like to work with. Nothing. I have one client right now that is sounding like they're working with them. I've had several clients talk to them. Last I heard, they did not have some sort of a finance system. So not everybody has the money in their policy yet. So I think it's going to be great. The other day I thought of this. Those of you that live close to or near these vacation rental spots, you should be trying to get in with these people that have these short-term rentals, Airbnbs, VRBO, whatever. When people are coming from out of town, they may want grass-fed beef. They may want farm-raised beef. Whatever you do, they may want it. And what would happen if they ordered ahead of time and you had it there when they arrived? Almost like an Instacart, or when they got there, they ordered from you and you were able to bring them all of their goods to cook, within the first 24 hours of them being there. Now, when they go home, they have your label and they can order by mail if you mail out burger and steak and chicken or kebabs or whatever. And they know it is farm raised meat. If they want farm fresh eggs, they are there. It is a really good way to be in contact with people in the city. It is a good way to build your clientele base. Go to these local Airbnb owners and see if they are willing to put your card in. Maybe you have a QR code and there's a little postcard or something on the table when people arrive so that they know where to go. Maybe somebody's going to put it on their listing so that they can order or send out instructions that I can order before I arrive. Okay. There's a lot of ways to do that. Do you want a vending machine in the campground? Because guess what? I didn't bring enough burgers. I didn't bring enough hot dogs. I'm out of buns. Whatever that may be, you can put whatever you want in that vending machine. And so can you do something like that? Do you own the campground? Do something like that and get your meat in places where you're typically not going to go. I'm telling you, they have vending machines for absolutely everything. Why would we not have one for meat? Okay, that's one thing. Another thing that I was just talking to somebody about was small square bales. Now, when I say small square, I don't mean a regular 75-pound square bale. Like, they have the big ones. Instead of the round bales, you got the big square bales. Then you got your regular size square bale. That's what I call it, a regular size square. It's what we've been making forever. To me, that's just a square bale. And then you have a small square. The small squares are basically your regular size bale, but it is like a third of it, not quite half of it, but a third of it, or even maybe a quarter of it. I'm not entirely sure, but I call them small squares. What they are is the people that are rodeoing, the people that are showing horses, the people that might have equine rental facilities. They are not wanting to handle, because most of the time, anybody with horses are going to be women that are traveling. These women do not want to lug a full regular size square bale on the top of their horse trailer. They want something that is more manageable. And from what I understand, they are paying nearly as much as they would for a full bale. They're paying for a smaller section of that bale because it is more manageable. So look into your area. Are there 25-pound squares? I was doing a little bit of research with this client today. We found a 25-pound alfalfa bale, and the people that we found, they were not selling it to horse people. They were selling those bales to people that have pet rabbits because they need alfalfa. They need Timothy hay. Timothy hay is a great moneymaker if you can raise it. I've heard it's a little bit finicky. I do have a client that raises it, prone to disease. So you have to make sure that you are in the right temperature. Not everybody, Timothy hay has to be grown where it's cooler, not where it's hot. Sorry, finally we can grow something Texas can't grow. Anywho, so think about that. I even had a gentleman at one point that would take round bales, unroll them, and bale them into squares because he could make more money as a square, even a regular size square, because horse people want square bales. Yes, they're more work, but they're also maybe bigger money makers. I don't know. Look into it. But if you already have alfalfa and you're baling it up into round bales, are you maybe missing an opportunity because you are in an area where you have a lot of horse shows or you have a lot of horse people, right? I would imagine like on the outskirts of Denver, you're going to have a lot of horse people. In Texas, you're going to have a lot of horse people. I recently, within the last year, I've talked to 2 people that are doing pink buckle barrel races. The whole pink buckle thing is a huge deal. And so you've got people like that that are sticking a ton of money into barrel races, a ton of money into horse shows, and they're willing to pay the extra to have a smaller bale. All right. The other one that I have a client that does this, and it's flower farming, or you pick garden stuff. And they are doing a great job. The flower farms, they have cut flowers and they send them to florists, or they're used for wedding decorations. And so it's very interesting that we think, oh, we've got something for the consumer. But when in fact, can we supply our local florist shop? I think that's a great idea. Camper hookups. I do have a client that put camper hookups on their farm because they are on the edge of hunting country. And so are you in a spot where people would like to come out and just camp and get away from people? Here's the thing. I have enough acreage. I'm not leaving. And I sure the heck am not going to a campground. I used to love camping until we moved out to acreage. And then I'm like, why do I go camping and I have to listen to barking dogs and screaming kids? Like, why? That doesn't even make any sense to me. Why wouldn't I just stay home and have total peace and quiet? And so if you are living in the country, maybe you say, hey, we're going to do a few camper hookups and people can come out here and they can camp. I mean, you don't have to provide the camper. Or what if you're in hunting country? Can you put a few hookups on your land so that at hunting time, people have a campsite to go to and they maybe don't have hotels near. They don't want to drive back and forth to town, whatever that might be. And camper hookups are a really inexpensive way to be able to just create a little bit of income with a little bit of work, really. I mean, you throw a little bit of gravel down, you put the hookup in, you got to mow a little bit of stuff, but you have the rules. The dogs are on a leash, you pick up the poop, whatever. It's not like you're renting a house and they can destroy the insides of the house, right? So that is an option as well. Is there an option do you have an old farmhouse that is not being lived in? I feel like what's happening right now is that we have a lot of farmhouses that are not being lived in because we built a new house. Can that house be Airbnb'd out if you want to? I think that there is going to be a huge movement for rural short-term rentals, and people want to get out of town. I don't care if that's a camper with a camper hookup. They don't want to have all these people, barking dogs, loud neighbors. They want to just experience some downtime. This younger generation is not nearly as go as us Gen Xers and older. We're very driven to work because that is how we were raised. The younger generation, they really love their downtime, which I think is fantastic. I don't really care either way what way you go. If you're going to work during the week and want to take the weekends off, fantastic, good for you. The other thing, if we go back to the direct-to-consumer meat, can you sell wholesale instead of selling direct-to-consumer? Can you sell to somebody that is doing direct-to-consumer? Sell them wholesale the animal, contract them the animal, and then you know that animal is sold before you even are ready to sell it. Can you do some of your foods if you are raising vegetables? If you are raising fruits? And those sorts of things. Can you freeze dry them, pulverize them, sell the powder? We bought a freeze dryer, and on the property that we just purchased last year, there are aronia berries. I had never heard of an aronia berry. They are super high in antioxidants, way better than an elderberry for you. And so I had 6 gallons of these aronia berries. And I thought, well, what the heck am I going to do with these? And they were taking up all this room in the freezer. And we got this freeze dryer, and I thought, I can freeze dry those, and then I can pulverize them into powder. And so I did that. And then I looked online and I thought, well, are people even doing this? And sure as heck, people online are doing it, and they're selling 12 ounces of powder for, I don't know what it was, $30 or $35 or $25, or I don't know what it was. And so I just thought, well, I have a couple of bags. I'll just put it on my Facebook page and see if anybody locally wants it. And people don't know what it is, but once you educate them on what it is, fantastic. I mean, I'm not doing a business out of this. It's just a matter of, hey, I just want to get rid of a couple of these things, and I have a freeze dryer. And so what are you making that could it turn into something? Even doing freeze-dried candy, that is how most people are making money with their freeze dryers. I don't remember who I was talking to the other day or not so long ago, and they were saying, hey, Mary Jo, we want to get a freeze dryer too, but they're really expensive. And they're about $3,000, something like that. And so this couple, that was a stretch for them, $3,000. And I said, well, if you're going to get and they want all nutritional food out of it. I mean, they're looking at freeze drying vegetables and those sort of things. And I'm like, well, if you're going to get a freeze dryer, why don't you freeze dry some candy and then sell that? They had never even heard of freeze dried candy. I'm like, that's what a lot of people are doing and making a lot of money. They have 4 or 5 freeze dryers, commercial size freeze dryers, and they're just making a boatload of money off the candy. I think it would be cool to have, if you are going to have freeze dried herbs, if you're going to have freeze dried fruit, vegetables, why would you not freeze dry them, pulverize them, and then put them into a mix for smoothies? I think that'd be a great option. And then you're just selling somebody the smoothie powdered mix, and they add that to water, and all of a sudden we have our smoothie, or they put milk in it or whatever they want to put in it. But I feel like that is going to be a great option because a lot of us are stuck on how to preserve our food if we have something like that. Even if we've got, I don't care if you're making choke cherry jelly, freeze dry that stuff, pulverize it, and then I'm assuming we're just going to add water later. I've never tried it. I'm just giving you ideas. I'm assuming that we're just going to add water and we can make our jam or we can, do whatever we want with it. But something to think about, if there's a shelf life on it, can we extend the shelf life? Can we make a different product out of it? And of course, you have to look at all your rules and laws locally and all that good jazz. And then the other thing is a lot of people that are like mid-sized farmers. So your large farmers, they don't have a problem. They can just go buy a piece of equipment and all is good in the world, right? But if we're small farmers, we may not be able to afford that piece of equipment. Or mid-sized farmers, do some custom farming. See if somebody needs you to, does somebody need the loader for the day that you can go do some work for them? And try to get the custom farming to make that payment for you so that your farm is not necessarily having to make that payment. Of course, you have to have the time to do this. However, it is an extra way to make money. And a lot of people don't think that. I mean, there are things like, for example, we have a tractor. We can do a lot of stuff ourselves, but we don't have a large tractor. And so I might just need one or two things done. It does not justify me to buy a big tractor. But what if we could rent something or we could call somebody else to do that for us? Because if you are a mid-sized farmer and you have a bigger tractor than me, but you have the time to come over and do the dirt work for me, why not? Or like we have these big telephone poles. Maybe we need them pulled. We're going to need them pulled out of the ground, but we're going to have to do that with somebody else's tractor because we don't have a big enough one to do that. My husband will try, I guarantee, but I don't think it's going to work. I've been proven wrong before. So anywho, there are lots of other ways. Those are just some examples that I have seen and I can recall off the top of my head. But there are many other ways that we can make money. Here's another one. I have a client that builds bale feeders and horse feeders, and he's got one for goats, I think. I think it's goats or sheep, one of the two. I'm sure he's listening going, Mary Jo, seriously. Anyway, he is always looking for people to help weld, right? So not everybody can weld. So if you're somebody that can weld and you want to do some stuff, great. Look for people like him that need help with those sort of things, that can't do those sort of things, that maybe don't have the equipment to do those sort of things. So there is always something that you have a talent for that you're able to do. I have lots of guys that have worked for John Deere or Case IH or whoever, and they know how to do the technology, the tech portion of the tractor, the updates, the GPS stuff. And when they quit working for them, then they go out and do some consulting on the side to help farmers fix some of that stuff. And so what knowledge do you have that we can create extra income? What extra income can that farm produce? Yeah, it's going to be work, 100%. But we think direct to consumer. That seems to be our just normal thought process, but we're not getting creative about how to do things. And so I like to get creative and do all sorts of, think about all sorts of things. Everything is a business opportunity. It's just, do you want it to be? All right, guys. Let me know if you have comments, questions, concerns. If you have a topic you want me to discuss, I would be happy to do that. You can email me, maryjo@withoutthebank.com, and I will get back to you. I will read the message. Otherwise, you have a fantastic rest of your day. And if you're in Iowa, I hope to see ya. Talk to you later.
Thanks for listening to the Farming Without the Bank podcast. We hope today's episode has inspired you to take control of your finances in new ways. Don't forget to check out our website, farmingwithoutthebank.com. and engage with us on our Facebook page, Farming Without the Bank. Join us next week as we smash more financial myths and empower you to accomplish your financial goals.